pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, can I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Reese.
Present.
Alderman Long.
Long.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Alderman Bowman.
Present.
Alderman Milner.
Present.
Alderman Turner.
Present.
Alderman Bockelman. Here. Alderman Dickerson.
Here.
Alderman Stafford. Absent. And Mayor Hassett.
Here, and we do have a quorum. Good evening, everyone. Alderman Stafford did contact me. He's out of town with work, so he is unavailable this evening. We have no ceremonial matters tonight, so at this time I will open the floor to public participation. Anybody who has anything to bring before this board that is not on our already scheduled agenda, please feel free to step forward. Please be sure to give the clerk your name and address, please.
Good evening. Yes, I'm Brent Hyde, and I'm speaking on behalf of Marcia Lightcap. She lives at 503 East Chestnut. Please allow me to read some information about a difficult situation that she's facing, of which you may be able to assist with. This is what she wrote. I'm Marcia Lightcap, and I live at 503 East Chestnut. My house does not actually face Chestnut, but rather an unnamed alley to the east. The neighborhood is an older one, with homes of many styles and ages, many garages and outbuildings at various distances from the streets and alleys. The area immediately in front of my house is gravelled, and that's where I park my car. It's gravelled over to the alley, and across the alley is a vacant lot. So I would need to build a carport. Oops, I'm sorry. And so to build a carport over my gravelled space, I would like to do that over the gravel area. The structure would keep the area dry, preventing ice and hazards from bad weather. I am disabled due to severe bone disease and deterioration from cancer in my leg, so walking can be dangerous in bad weather. I have verification of my medical disability. My husband passed away a few months ago, so I must drive to shop, pay bills, and attend doctor's appointments. I'm requesting a variance without the expense or complications of the usual process for the carport that will stick out a few feet beyond the house, but cover only where my current gravel parking lot is. It would be a terrible burden to hire someone to do drawings and send certified letters, to pay fees and title company charges. Please consider this request and allow this carport to be built by my home along the alley. It would not block any views. It is not really visible from the street and not taking up any other space from my lot other than what is already currently in use for parking. Sincerely, Marcia Lightcap. So, for your consideration, please.
Something BZA.
I think she's been directed to go to the Board of Zoning Adjustment, and that was in his comments, that she would prefer not to go to that board, but this board can't make that kind of variance.
We can't make a...
Right. I think her point is the application fee she don't have to go to the BZA to process.
I think there's more to it than the application fee. I'd have to look at that paperwork, but isn't she required to get papers from neighbors? And I mean, I've seen that application and it's humongous. It's meant probably more for businesses and things, but
No, it's meant for residentials too and stuff. For any outside normal variance, there's a $50 application fee, and then you do have to send letters to all the neighbors that surround your property to give them notice of what you want and the variance you want. And that gives them an opportunity to come up to that meeting and either in support of it or against it or whatnot, and then that board decides whether to allow it.
Okay, have
And
you-
they supersede us. So what they say goes. We
As
can't
far
change it.
as far as zoning adjustments go,
As far as
strictly,
the
they
zoning
handle,
outside of the
we
normal
set
ordinance.
we set the ordinance for what the zoning is, but if there's a variance to it, they are the body, and I think that's laid out by state statute, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I haven't looked at your code with regards to variances, but typically, the way it works is that it's a precondition to action that you go to BZA first. There are certain circumstances, a board may be able to overrule the BZA, but you have to go through BZA first. You can't circumvent that part of the requirement because it's part of your zoning law.
Exactly what all does have to be done? If you've been on it, what are all the requirements? Say I want my carport to stick out 2 feet farther than it's supposed to.
If you want a variance from the city ordinance that we abide by, you have to fill out the application, pay the permit fee, and then you have to send a copy of the letter to every neighbor that surrounds your property.
That touches.
Anyone that touches your property has to receive a letter and of the request you're wanting and stuff, and then that has to, they'll have a meeting date and stuff, everything on it, and then they'll be able to come up here to contest it
So
or
there's
to be for it.
no dollar that has to be paid other than the $50.
The $50 and then whatever it costs to mail.
You may have one neighbor that touches, you may have 4, so it'll depend on how many neighbors touch. Alderman Bachman, did you have a?
Can you as the mayor approve any of this stuff? Do you have any of those kind of powers?
No.
Can
No,
we
it
waive
doesn't.
the fee?
Can we change some of the requirements?
Well, I think about the board could possibly waive the fee.
We could waive the fee, I think that would be
I
about
think
all
they could waive the fee, and
Well,
one of the,
that's where I
other-
was going.
one of the other issues, and typically when somebody's building an addition to their property, the reason it generally calls for plans, some sort of plans to be developed is to make sure they're building within their property boundary.
Okay, and so what would that cost?
Well, that just depends on, that would be,
Hiring someone to do plans for a little carport.
yeah. That's really because you could be, you don't want to, the city does not want to improve somebody encroaching on the private property of another person, which is a potential problem if you don't have a plan or survey.
You can just look at this place, John, and know she's not gonna, I mean, it's not,
Well, then the development of that plan could be less expensive as a result.
what kind of a person develops this plan?
Well, typically, the person that is going to construct it should be put together a plan for the project, and that plan should then be submitted to the city, and they should be able to prove to the city that they're building within the property itself. And then the city would review it and approve it from just a plan standpoint, assuming that the zoning was clear through BZA, for example.
Okay, so let's assume, since
Oh,
it's a
hold on,
car.
Matt had-
Okay.
Right now, what is the ordinance that's stopping her from doing this? I mean, what is
What is
gonna
the
have to be
zoning,
amended?
what's the zoning regulation that's
The
not
zoning
one?
problem with this, I've talked with these folks,
Okay,
they're my
so-
constituents, and I have spoken with them.
What
But
is
the
it?
problem with the code is
Right.
that it says that an unattached an unattached building cannot be in front of the front perimeter of the house.
The-
And this is gonna come out about 4 feet in
Yeah.
front of the house, necessarily. She's already got a little gravel
Okay.
spot there, which
Right.
is where she is. And it's not on the street, it's on an alley.
Right, but,
It has no name.
But-
I'll tell you what it is, Brian, you know where, I can't think of their name now. You know where the old Methodist church is?
Mhm.
Right next door to the Allen's house.
Mhm.
It's right between those 2 streets. And when you're going down East Road, you can't even tell it's a street, it looks like a driveway.
Mhm.
And you turn on it, and it's a one-way.
Mhm.
They made it one way, so you can only get in that way. And then you go down, and the house faces Allen's, actually.
So what's the address? I mean,
There
since
is
the house
no-
doesn't face
They give
it,
the address as Chestnut, which is the parallel street to each
even though it
borough.
doesn't face that?
Even though it does
Okay.
not face that
Okay.
direction mailbox.
So-
Yeah, so nobody can see the house. If he goes, I mean, if you're looking out her front door, you're looking at Alan's backyard.
So the rule is, again, was it, you said the face of the house or the front of the house?
Mhm.
So what do we determine as the
The
front of the
4
house?
feet.
If the road's address is Chestnut, and I assume the carport would be facing the alley.
It's the alley, yes.
The
sir.
alley's not the address, so that's
Address
technically not the
is Chestnut, so your front perimeter should be
Chestnut.
Chestnut
So that should
By-
not be,
by technical.
I mean,
that's-
Okay, so who makes that
Without
decision?
seeing
is that not a
looking
valid
at your
argument?
code
I think
and,
it's also closer than 8 feet from the property line, which is a requirement for
I was gonna
an
say,
accessory structure.
Okay.
There's a couple of things.
So I guess the thing we need to get to here is what is the bare minimum that would have to be done to allow her to do this? I don't think anybody up here is opposed to seeing her do this. It's the bare minimums that we can
Well, it's not,
do to get this taken care of. If it needs an application, okay,
We talked about this.
how many properties are there that you would need a letter for?
Whatever is drawn out on a piece of paper, that'd be sufficient.
if it's sufficient for the Board of Zoning Adjustment, I mean, you're wanting to tell them what they're doing. I think they're the ones that say, if it just needs to be hand drawn, that gives some rough estimates of dimensions, that would be
Now, I
fine.
assume there's somebody that's gonna be contracted to actually build this structure.
Yes.
So could that person do like I mean, it doesn't have to be professional drawing, you'd have to check with BZA, but I mean, a drawing, okay, here's what the property looks like, or even pictures, and then they could say, okay, here's the property, here's a rendering of what it would look like, and it would have maybe the measurements on it. Would that be,
I have not gone through Board of Zoning
okay, Matt, would
Adjustment, so
that
I'm
be
not sure.
sufficient if it's, say they had pictures of what is there now, and then the person that's going to put this structure up could draw out a hand-drawn, this is what it looked like, here's the measurements as far as how far from the building. Is that sufficient for BZA to be able to review?
It could be, as long as it's very detailed as far as the dimensions, exactly
Mhm.
how far from the alleyway, the property lines, the house, and, no.
I would think you'd want it detailed and then written, it will be so far from here, so far from the house, so, I mean,
Okay, I'm sorry, just a question, because you mentioned, and I had thought about this myself, the legal address where the mail is delivered to the address is not even that side of the house.
Right, but now we're going to the
it's still,
distance off the property line.
right, it still has
You have
to
to waive that. The distance off the property line.
you have to be sure that the structure to be built will be built within the boundaries of the property. And
Right,
doesn't,
sure.
and zoning wise, doesn't violate the setback lines around the property. Even the back of properties typically have setback lines
Yeah.
for construction.
Up to 10 foot.
And if you're invading that, then you need a variance in order to do that. And one of the concerns I have as well from listening to this is that it's going up against an alley. Is that an official public right-of-way alley that has a specified width, et cetera? You have to be careful you don't invade that. If you fail to follow your code requirements with regards to doing the variance, and I'm one of the neighbors, I very well might be able to go to court even after you've approved it and have it ordered to be torn
Okay.
down, which you don't want to
Even though the
happen.
neighbors have approved it?
No, I'm saying one neighbor.
in
one
case there was
neighbor-
one that didn't, yeah.
Okay,
Right, so you might have multiple neighbors and maybe most agree, but one disagrees, that one neighbor could create a lot of problems. If you don't follow the process appropriately.
Does the carport and what she wants to build, does it qualify for this structure?
It's
I
an
mean,
accessory.
because
It's
it's
accessory.
Accessory structure.
So it's
Accessory.
that is covered in the code, I think.
Yeah, it is.
So is this,
I have.
okay, so, It sounds like it's something that maybe since you've already been working on this, could work with happy to get, you all could work to get what's needed for EZA. Like I said, I mean, I think that's what she's looking for. What is the bare minimum that could be done here? And
The thing about this is, if it were a garage, attached to the house, it could go up there, no question.
I mean, is that, am I right on that? That's kind of where we're, I mean, we're not going to be able to grant it, but we're more than happy. I mean, and I don't know about the $50 fee. Is that a concern, that $50 fee? Was that a? Okay, so is that something the board, if they wanted to, I mean, if they were interested in that, is that something they would, is that something that
I think we're,
the board needs to vote to waive?
I think $50.
Yeah, you would need that. And then that would be the only motion you would take, and then you would need to. There you go, your $50 covered. So
Thank you. And we will then contact the Board of Zoning and make sure that the letters go out.
Talk to me or to Jim Clark.
Or zone adjustments.
yeah, just if you want to contact one of them, then we'll get the forms, and if
I
you
would-
need.
I would suggest to talk to the city administrator, Mr. Clark, first, to find out what you actually need to have the Board of Zoning Adjustment approved.
That way you're not there more than once. That's kind of it'll, once they have everything, we'll schedule the meeting, and I mean, it would take less time than what we just took here to, I'm sure, to go through it. As long as they just want to be sure they have everything they need to be able to approve of a variance, which, as long as the neighbors, it sounds like the neighbors aren't opposed to this, they just need to have it. You just have to do the official, like John said, you have to be sure you do it the right way. So,
Just have to go through the motion.
and let me know if you need help with the posting, we'll take care of that too.
Thank you. Well, you've been very considerate. Thank you.
You bet. All right. Anyone else who'd like to speak tonight? Mr. Miller?
I've known her husband many years, worked with him at Honeywell. I'm willing to try to help her on a drawing. I'm not a professional, but I can try to help her with a drawing and get that put together for her.
Okay.
Cool.
Marcia, I'll do that for you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I knew Lee for many years, good man.
All right.
I'll see
We'll
if I
get
can
you,
help
we'll
you.
get you fixed up. So, all right. Thank you, Clint.
Thank you. Thank you.
Clint might give Randy your address if he doesn't have it already.
403 Locust.
All right. Thank you, Clint.
Yeah, I'll try to help him.
Alderman, Mr. Mayor, Council, Kathy, how you doing? First, to start tonight, Mr. Mayor, I would like to congratulate you on your foresight and your commitment. Your foresight being the fact that when you first obtained office, you didn't think the legal advice you were getting was what you needed. And you went out and you sought private attorneys. And I think that's proved to be very, very fruitful to you and to the rest of Harrisonville. Your support for the audit was tremendous. And I have been going over this, and Ms. Bowman, just for your information, I know it's hard to absorb everything that's in this in a 30-minute meeting and a 15-minute question and answer system that took probably 14, 15 months to complete. I was surprised at the audit. In the rating we got, I didn't know how serious we were. And the answer to Mrs. Bowman's letter to the editor, it's good nobody was convicted of a felony and no major problem occurred. And my question, would you know what being out of bond covenants would mean to the city? At all?
Mr. Butler,
I know you can't answer.
you're to address the board, not an individual alderman.
Well, but I want it directly at you because you said there's no problem. If we lose our bond covenants, we're in trouble
I know where she lives, I'll look into
at any time. And it was amazing the things that Nicole was able to cover in her 30 minutes. And I have been in contact with Todd afterwards, and he's advised me of some things that was not covered. The TDDs, you know, and again, Ms. Bowen, I'm not picking on you particularly, but you and Ms. Reese and Ms. Milner and Josh, and he's not here tonight, have fought Mr. Hassey ever since he was in sworn in. Started with Loves. And I found a Facebook post by Ms. Milner tonight about Loves. If they didn't get their CID, they're just moving out of town. And I reposted it so everybody can look at it and go out and visit Loves. It bothered me about Loves because I'd asked Love representative if he needed a CID, if that was part of his program for coming to Harrisonville. And it was at their town hall meeting. And he said no. And I said, well, who brought up the CID? City staff or you? And he said, city staff brought it up. Now, that brings into question why we wanted a CID out there. Was it that we wanted roads, water, and sewers to Mrs. Warner's property? Or do we want to help Love? And seeing how none of those would have helped the city offset the cost of the CID, I still think it was just to help improve the property value for Mrs. Warner. Because farmland that is developed with utilities is a whole lot more expensive than blank land. The city has had enough of the CIDs, the TDDs, the 353s, whatever you want to call this alphabetic soup stuff. And I've contacted a few people today. I'm sure, Mr. Fairfield, you're covered under E&O. Mr. Welch, I understand you're covered by bond only. But our comptroller, our financial officer, is not covered by anything. Is that really healthy for us to do? That's the only, now he can answer me. Do you think we ought to include her as far as either having a bond or, you know?
I'm not sure if that's state required.
Well, I know that. We're not doing state. Trust me, this is not state, okay? This is the question to me because I don't want sued. I don't want it to be out of our bond covenants and the hammer drop. And this thing, we're bidding contracts. We're getting poor legal advice on the writing of the contract. We're getting not enough information from our previous administration, our lawyer, our mayor, at no time. Now also understand that all of you ladies have been convinced to run through the eyes of our ex-mayor and the Chamber of Commerce. And Josh is not here, but I can bring that for him also. So I'm not really sure the Chamber has been a friend to the city of Harrisonville. Because we have been throwing things at this wall that won't quit. Now, Mrs. Miller, I was a little curious when I read in here that you made the final vote on the TDD fund. And it was a 5-3 with an abstention. And then the property closed the next day, is the way this reads. So I thought to myself, that's strange that a man that owns 3 car dealerships would turn down that kind of money in one day's turn. So I called Mr. Miller. Called him last Thursday. And he didn't get back to me right away, which I can understand that. He's at 3 dealerships, he's running all of them. But today, before I left to come up here,
Scott,
I think he means
Miller.
Mark Mueller.
Miller.
Mueller?
Mueller? Yeah.
Mark Mueller?
I thought it was Miller.
No, I think Mark Mueller owns the dealership, is that correct?
Okay.
Is that the right
Well,
pronunciation?
that's Mr. Mueller.
I'll just make sure that's the right way to pronounce his name. Okay. Okay.
And my question to him was he aware of what went on? He said, yes. He said, I was told that it was worth a few $1,000s. I said, well, I understand it was worth more than that. I said, few, to me, it's kind of, in the dictionary, few and several can have the same meaning. But when you're dealing with money, a few thousand and a few hundred thousand is a big difference. And he asked me if I knew exactly what it was, and I said, no, but I'll get it for you and I'll get back to you. So he'll give me a call. I told him I could get that number for him. And not giving up your petition to vote that night, and having a verbal approval from our attorney, and not in writing, you left yourself wide open. Wide open. And Mr. Mayor, good luck to you, good luck to our city council, and thank you, Mr. Sparrow. Oh, is there any way that we can seek, since our other attorney did have errors in omission on his contracts not being done correctly, and on him being included in it, is that open to you, or?
I would suggest that a question and answer like that would be something that would be advice to the city that should be handled in a closed session.
Thank you, but I'd like to bring it up. And I'd also like to bring up if our last city administrator was covered under bond, and I don't know what his bonding capacity was. But there's things that went on in it that the people of Harrisonville should not be burdened with. And I pray they're not burdened again. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else this evening? 9 minutes and 40 seconds. Please keep the comments down in the audience, thank you. Mr. Minnick, I'm allowed to waive that and allow time. I don't think I've ever held anybody to that standard unless we have a full house. So just so you know, I allow anyone, doesn't matter, Mr. Foster's been allowed time before, so if there's not a full house, I think it's important to let people say what they want to say, so. Mr. Obie, how are you, sir?
I won't be long. One thing I would advise Mr. Butler to do,
Please address us.
before he makes public comments, to check his facts. He is totally wrong on the Chamber of Commerce urging people to run for office. We are non-political, and we don't endorse any candidate, as everybody up here knows. So, Mr. Butler, next time, if you want to check with me, I'll be ready.
We'll be up checking with you.
All right. Anyone else want to speak this evening? Step forward.
Gerald Saline, I live at 805 South. I just wanted to end this public participation on a positive note. I want to thank you all for your time, your effort of being city council, and I hope this audit taught you something that we can take and move on and improve the city, and whatever you can learn, the citizens of Harrisonville appreciate it. And we're not here to chew on anybody's rear end, but take that with it. And we do appreciate your effort, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. All right. Anyone else this evening? Seeing no one, I will close the public participation. We'll move on to the approval of the minutes. First, we have the regular meeting from May 15th, 2017.
Mr. Approved.
Second.
There's a shocker. Motion from Alderman Milner and a second from Alderman Dickerson. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Next, we have the minutes from the executive session of May 1st, 2017.
Move approved.
Second.
I have a motion from Alderman Dickerson, and I could hear a second from Alderman Long. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. All right, moving on to our agenda items. First off, we have the special event permit, Rock World 2017. Good evening, Chief.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. Before you tonight, there are a couple of event permits. First one is for the Rock World 2017 over here at the vault. They're requesting to shut down part of the square. It would be the north side, between Independence and Lexington, just Pearl Street. The request originally was for July 14th and 15th. They've withdrawn the 15th now. They just want it for July 14th, so it's just that Friday night. They're having an event in their building, and they'd like to pour out into the square a little bit and enjoy the evening. So staff did not see any problems with it, and they just recommend approval. Answer any questions.
Any questions for Chief?
I have a question.
Sir.
They said that they were going to be going around the square in small groups, 10 or so. So I mean, through other businesses. Is that?
I think they're gonna be more on the sidewalk for those.
Okay.
Those
They're gonna be on the
types of things,
sidewalk.
which does not need
Right.
permission.
Okay.
All right. No questions? Motion to,
Move it home.
is that a motion?
Yes.
Got a motion?
Or is your motion with his correction, or his amendment? He
With the-
eliminated one day.
Eliminated the day from ours.
Yes. I,
All right, motion from Alderman Turner and a second from Alderman Long for the amended 1 day instead of 2. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, approved. Next, we have the special event permit for Life Issues 5K.
This is a 4K, 4.4 miles, so it's more than a 5K, I guess. From Heartland Baptist Fellowship, they're going to start out around the Justice Center and walk to the church. They've done this for 5 years. Just very little of it is in the city. But we provide a little escort for them, and we usually provide them some safety vests that they borrow and bring back for the people that are walking the intersections. We've had no problems and recommend approval. Entertain any questions?
Any questions?
Move to approve.
second.
I have a motion from Alderman Milner and a second from Alderman Turner. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And then it's approved. All right, next we need to make a decision on what we're doing with the July 3rd meeting, which we all know is the day before the 4th.
Catholic.
Well, the options are to cancel, reschedule, or we have 2 different dates for reschedule, which would make it, I guess July 10th would be the next normal meeting, correct? So it's rescheduled.
The next normal meeting is the 17th.
Or excuse me,
So if you want to move it to sometime that week, or if you want to move it to the next week, or forget about it.
I say either have it on third or cancel.
I mean, unless we have something pressing that staff is worried about us having on that meeting.
I say, can we just leave it open if there's something pressing?
I mean, we can always schedule one if something comes up that we have to have one, but at this point, if
Just have it start at 7.
All meetings start at
It's
7.
usually done.
the meetings do, the normal meetings do.
It's hard for me.
Yeah.
Or 6:15.
Meetings start at 7.
So you would be in favor of canceling the meeting and only schedule if we need one, staff can let us know, we can schedule a meeting. We need to vote on that.
I think since it's a published regular meeting,
Okay.
we should.
I make a motion that we cancel the meeting of July 3rd. Can we let our attorney finish his sentence first?
Oh, I thought you were done.
I have-
Cheaper if we cut him off.
Yeah. Good charge.
I have a motion from Alderman Dickerson. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second from Alderman Long. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we will not be here on July 3rd. Moving on, nuisance abatement contract.
So we have high weeds and in a number of places that we need to cut, and we have potential that there's some houses that are gonna need to be cleaned up. Went out for bids. We received 2 bids, and they're before you. One Excalibur Contracting, the other Endless Lawn and Landscape. I had hoped to have a contract for you tonight, however, they have not returned it to me. So at this point, all I'm looking for is approving that bid, and then we'll bring back the contract for approval at the next meeting.
Are both of these, one of them is Pleasant Hill, the other one is actually, I guess he's outside. Is consider Harrisonville?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have one in Harrisonville, one in Pleasant Hill. The Harrisonville one is the one that's a couple dollars an hour cheaper.
But if they do not respond, because they were supposed to be by earlier this week, I may bring it back and say, let's reject a little bit and go to the next
Go
one.
whichever one. Well, it depends on which one the board would like to entertain, so.
Yes.
So, Mr. Welch, does one of the contractors handles the mowing and the other one handles debris and trash and?
They will handle, no, the contractor that we're looking at will handle both.
Both, okay.
Yeah, so if they can't perform it, then we go to the next
Okay,
one.
thank you.
All right, any suggestions, motion on which one you would like?
Did you say the one at Harrisonville hadn't brought their contract to us?
Not yet, no.
How long have they had it?
Have not picked it up yet. They told them to come by last Tuesday.
No, I meant,
That's not what.
when did they get the?
No, they haven't come by to actually pick the contract up to sign it. So I'm waiting.
Do we have to make the motion, can we make the motion to do it and then fill in with, is that?
Well, what he, like he said, is if they, for some reason you approve the one that hasn't brought it in, and then we would vote to bring to use the other.
I think you can authorize
That's what I'm
the
saying.
city administrator to accept this contract with the condition that they bring back the contract, and if they don't, during some time, either you set a time period or within a time period that you allow him to set, then allow him to see if the other is willing to contract, and if they are, he brings back to you the contract,
Okay.
signed contract for your approval.
I would say by the next meeting, if they, I mean, that sounds like a reasonable time.
Hey,
If that's who you're, again, that's, if the board is wanting the one that hasn't brought it in.
You said they're supposed to come by last Tuesday.
Yes,
Have you tried to contact them since then?
no. No, not yet.
Maybe they forgot.
So, if
I mean, it could have.
It would be to,
I think your motion would be to authorize the city administrator to accept the low bid, assuming they sign the contract. If they don't, for him to seek or to contact the other bidder to see if they're willing to sign the contract, and if they are, to bring that contract back.
So
That's
either
the
way,
motion I wanna make.
either way, we'd have a contract for one or the other at the next meeting. Okay.
Is there still opportunity for discussion?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Welch, so we have two contractors, neither of whom have returned contracts?
I have not asked the second lowest bid to return the contract because I went with the low
Okay.
bid at this point,
Okay.
assuming the council or the board would approve that.
Okay. And we have work that needs to be done now. We have mowing that needs to be done now.
So what we can do outside of that, we can do the really bad stuff because it would be under the requirement of the board to approve. So we can take care of that in the interim. This is not ideal, but this is where we are.
I just don't want us to delay so long that these weeds and grasses are continuing to grow because they're already.
Well, either way, we have to approve a contract, and we don't have, we wouldn't have either one, so the motion that's being made would be, either way, we'll have one of the two at the next meeting, and then, because, yeah, I noticed the one at the park that we had to have staff take care of is starting to get taller again, so.
So then, are we gonna put a time limit on this, on the low bid?
So I'm gonna have him, and he has to have it returned to you by Friday.
By this Friday, if not, we'll go with the.
And we'll have it at the next meeting. to vote.
That gives me time to contact the other contractor, get the information, get it to the board for approval.
So that was your motion, is to allow him to go with the low bid, and if not by Friday, then he will contact the second bidder, and one way or the other, we'll have a contract at the next meeting.
we'll have the authorization from the board to
All right.
do whatever you need.
And I have a second from Alderman Long. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
And I apologize for the confusion, but that's just where we are at this point in the process.
All right, moving on, Council Bill 030.
Council Bill 030, resolution of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Harrisonville, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to sign the attached tow policy agreement with Johnson's Tow and such other tow companies as are willing to meet the requirements of the agreement.
All right.
Does this include Miller Tow?
Yeah, if they apply.
They have to
Did they
apply.
apply?
I don't know, have they said anything to you, Miller?
They have not.
Okay.
A packet was sent to them
Johnson's the only one,
when we originally posted this. A packet was sent to them. I have had no reply with the new contract.
Alderman, the way that I've worked with APE to redo the tow agreement, and the way it's set up is you've got a base agreement, and then you have an acceptance. So they each will agree to the base contract, but they have to return an acceptance where they agree to be bound by the terms of it and the fee agreement, and provide the appropriate company information that'll be shared with the police department.
So does he still have time to?
Yeah, anytime he would like to submit, and,
Then that takes care of it.
There's no time limit.
Okay.
yeah, as long as they do it in
3
the
months.
contract or
Okay,
the
yeah.
agreement period.
Okay.
Another one, Jay Southland had also applied, but their tow lot didn't meet the qualifications for the county.
Well, I know, Gary's always, you know, took a
Special-
contract didn't end.
Yeah,
His name wasn't in it.
yeah, he's been given it, and
Okay.
with an explanation of what was going on.
And Dave, you can start going to a company and sign up tomorrow.
No, I don't want to do it.
And keep in mind, this is just non-preference. When they say,
My truck.
I don't know who, you guys just send me a tow truck. This isn't if they say, I want Miller Tow, then Miller Tow or Johnson Tow or whomever can come in and get the bids. It's just non-preference.
Okay.
You do a rotation on that.
Yeah, Johnson to Johnson.
So,
Johnson.
Johnson and Johnson.
Johnson.
But yes.
As more would come, you just
Okay.
cycle through.
I think that's how
We currently are Johnson, Miller, Johnson, Miller, Johnson.
Okay. All right. Any further questions?
Move to approve.
Motion from Alderman Turner.
Second.
And a second from Alderman Dickerson. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And Council Bill 030 becomes Resolution R018. Council Bill 033.
Council Bill 033, a resolution of Board of Aldermen, the City of Harrisonville, Missouri, approving the fireworks display in City Park on July 4, 2017.
All right. I'm digging through here. Whose item is this?
I know.
Is that yours?
Eric was one that submitted it.
There we go.
By ordinance, the board has to approve any fireworks display. And so we have one coming up for the 4th of July, and need your approval.
You want to see a full meeting room, don't approve it.
How much is it?
Hmm?
We usually have a total in there, did I miss it?
Kristen, or what we?
This actually is not the bid, this is actually
This is just
the
approving.
certification of the ordinance. Bids were sent out, and low bid is actually the only bid, which is World Fireworks, which, since I've been here 6 years, that's the only one who bids on this particular job.
And they do a fantastic
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
So, is this company in Greenwood or in Lake Winnebago?
I'm not sure where they're at. They're the ones that have done it for the last 19.
They're right off 291, they're the
Well,
one you
I
see
mean-
right down there by Lake Winnebago.
Right, well, the firework permit is Lake Winnebago, but yet their license is Greenwood.
You know, the insurance is Greenwood too.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if that was,
Just where they're, that area they're located, I mean, it's, what that is.
it's the same address, same zip code, same treaty now.
So I had a motion to approve, Alderman Miller, correct? And I have a second from Alderman Dickerson. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And Council Bill 033 becomes Resolution R019. Council Bill 034.
Council Bill 034, a resolution of the City of Harrison, Missouri, acknowledging and supporting the ACT Certified Work Ready Community Employer Participation Letter.
This is a countywide effort to bring a form of testing that's been approved by the state and is actually run through the Department of Economic Development. And it's statewide. Counties look to get themselves approved as work ready. And there's a test that ACT, you all remember ACT from our high school days. And it is the NCRC. And this is an attempt to classify employees based on three different criteria. One is reading for information, the other is math, and the other is locating information. And what you do is you have a score that they'll look at, and you can get a bronze, silver, gold, or platinum level. The idea is that if we can get sponsors to determine that this is a good work-ready community, and then we get the businesses to sign up to accept the work-ready and use it as a tool, then it is something else that we can use to classify our workers here for employers to hire. And it's one more tool for them to use. And it has worked across the state in attempting to give employers an opportunity to find people that they can retain, that they that are qualified for the job. It saves those companies on human resources. So it's one more way for us to assist our residents to get out and do the testing, which right now is done in Belton, or up in somewhere up in the Kansas City area. And then have a chance at companies such as Church and Dwight. They utilize this system to hire. I believe they go from a silver level above, and those are the types of employees that they're looking for. So there is at least one company that wants to, that uses it. What we're doing is it doesn't cost the employer anything, and what we're doing is just saying we're sponsoring it. One of 100 different businesses that are trying to sign up and say, we believe that this is a good program, and something that will benefit this county to bring good workers to different employers that want to live here.
So if we accept this, will we have a testing place here in town, or will you start to go to Belton or Kansas City?
The school is part of the program, or I should say part of the group, the work group. And what they're talking about is putting a testing place at Cascade Center. Right now, there isn't any place in Harrisonville.
Right, but I mean, if we adopt this and get going, would we have one?
Could we? It's probably better than would we, but
I'd say the more involvement you get, the more likely you are to have that happen.
So what they're looking at from the school's point of view is if you have enough employers that belong to this, then it becomes an important piece for the students to use. Then they can do more testing, and Cass Career wants to do that.
So is this simply students taking this test?
This is students, veterans, anybody that's in the workforce,
So
or
like
wanting to get in the workforce.
the people on the board can take the test?
Yes, sure.
Yep.
Be required to take the test? Only just checking.
No, but it would help if there's a business that you want to go work at, and let's say they do use this tool, it's probably something that you want to have.
And this did come with a recommendation from the Community Development Committee to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion from Alderman Dickerson, and I have a second from Alderman Long. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah. No, I mean, being part of this is not gonna cost us nothing.
Nope.
Just try to get our business.
Yep.
At this point, we're getting sponsors to say it's important for the county.
Right. All right. Any more questions, discussion? I have a first and I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And Council Bill 034 becomes Resolution R020. Council Bill 035.
Council Bill 035, a resolution authorizing the city administrator to enter into an agreement with Advanced Asphalt Paving and Concrete LLC for asphalt overlay in the amount of $134,768.64.
Good evening, Rodney.
Good evening, sir, members of the board. I'm coming before you to ask you for this asphalt contract. It's in one section of town. That's not. The reason we did that was because it's cheaper to keep the milling machine and the overlay machines in one area. And it's those areas are needed. It starts over on Beth and ends over on Younger. So every year we do a street evaluation, and these streets were, well, it's other streets too, but these streets met the criteria to be overlaid. We was hoping not to do the overlays and just do seals this year, but these needed it. So I'm asking you to locate this.
questions? Mr. Jacobs?
I have one question. I had a gentleman question me about Wall Street.
Yes, right there by the, coming into the square.
Yeah.
That, wouldn't do any good to overlay that.
Well, I'm not asking
No,
that.
but because it's so bad, we
Yeah.
have set aside 200 tons of asphalt, and we're going to try to rebase that.
So where the holes, so where the cuts,
Right, you've seen where we tried to patch in the past, and just when it went bad just between patches, we want to go in and tear them all out and just base that full block.
okay.
Just tear it all out and rebase it.
All right, he was wanting an answer.
And that's his plan.
All year or
Yep.
whatever, so I
Yeah,
just-
we put back the money for 200 tons of asphalt.
Very good.
Perfect, thank you.
All right. Further questions?
No. Just let her rip. I'll second that.
I have a motion from Alderman Turner, and I have a second from Alderman Long. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And Council Bill 035 becomes Resolution R021. Council Bill 036.
Council Bill 036, a resolution authorizing the city administrator to enter into an agreement with Vance Brothers, Inc. for pavement sealing in an amount not to exceed $145,000.
Long time no see.
Well, this is the second part of it. This is the maintenance part. As we talked before, we have thin asphalts, and the idea of this is to take those streets that we picked. Again, it's in this area. Next year, we want to pick another area and just blanket that. We picked all the ones that was candidates for a ceiling, and just keep the water up. That's kind of where we're at. Now, South Street and Independence Street is on that list too. That is something we're going to call Cape Seal. We want to do that. That's going to be, at first, it's going to be a chip seal. And then on top of that chip seal, there's going to be a micro surfacing. You've seen some micro surfacing some in the past. And that's going to do that. We had really good luck on Thunderbird. In fact, it really looks good. So we're going to try that on Independence. That was done, about 8 years ago. It looks pretty bad. The concrete underneath South Independence is going apart. We saw where we tried to patch it and try to, but this will try to marry some of this up and make it better. But again, it's keep the water out.
You're not doing the Independence right off, are you?
Well,
When are you gonna do Independence?
this part of the system, we will chip seal it 2 weeks before they come in and do the micro surfacing. We will chip seal it, and with that granite that you see, we'll chip seal that to what should be dust. We'll come in and sweep it the next day. We'll sweep up all the extra rock. And then we'll let that settle, we'll keep sweeping it, and within 2 weeks, they will come in and they will put it'll look like asphalt now.
So, that fits the four-way stop? right
It
now?
goes from the four-way stop at Mechanic Street down to South Street.
Yeah, well, right now, but.
Well, the state
Yeah.
highway department is trying to help us with that. That water puddle is always there. That's water puddle that was there, but the stop sign.
Yeah.
That was because they raised their road. They tried to help us out by draining that water. They have more work to do.
Okay.
So,
All right. Any further questions?
Move to approve.
I have a motion from Alderman Dickerson and a second from Alderman Long. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And Council Bill 036 becomes Resolution R022. Council Bill 037 will need to be pulled tonight. We have some updates that have been brought to my attention we need to make to that before it's ready. So we will have that brought back to the next meeting. So that moves us past our agenda items and on to the Alderman Committee reports. Alderman Bowman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to make sure that you all know that Keys to Community, which is a project of the Harrisonville Chamber, will be unveiling some additional pianos this coming Thursday evening at the Chamber. That happens at 6:30 until 8:30, and the public is invited. And there'll be snacks and live music, and you'll get to see 2 lovely new pianos. One of those which was painted by the art students at Harrisonville Elementary School. So we'd like to invite you, and I'd like to thank Obie and the Chamber. Obie, I just want to thank you and the Chamber for your support of Keys to Community.
Can you please not wake Obie up when he's sleeping?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Alderman Bachman. Alderman Reese. Alderman Miller. Alderman Dickerson.
Not a thing.
Alderman Long.
I'm just, I've already said it once before, whatever, I'm very proud to be married to my wife for 24 years, so I'm ready to go home and see her.
Congratulations to her for putting up with
She deserves it.
it. That's right. Alderman Turner.
This Saturday is the 7th annual Youth Fishing Derby from the Elks Lodge. It's 7 years now. It's at City Park. This year, first 400 kids will get a free fishing pole and tackle box. Got prizes and drawings. It's a good youth event and stuff. Have a good turnout. Registration starts at 8. Kids will fish, free food, and trophies, prizes. So they'll have a good time.
All right. Mr. Welch.
Just a couple of things on your updated report. Item 1, you have the numbers from the power outage. I think you should be very proud of your crew coming in on a Saturday night, holiday weekend. We had only one person that was out of time and unavailable. Then we had crews in from Independence to help out. And they worked long hours to get the power back up, so they did a good job. Road closures on Highway 291. Waters Road and Delmar Street will be closed starting tomorrow, so you won't be able to get through those intersections. That'll last a whole week until Monday the 12th, and then on the 12th, Crestwood closes. That'll be closed a week. And the project keeps going. That's it.
All right.
When did you say what part of 291?
So Waters
Road
and Delmar starting tomorrow. That'll go till next Monday. And then next Monday, they'll open up, and then Crestwood will be closed for a week. It opens up on the 19th.
All right.
I had a doctor one a couple days about that.
We were talking about 4th of July. I got my duck tank reserve for year number 2 for anybody who wants to line up. Marcy, you didn't show up to fulfill your promise. So you got,
grandkids take forever.
we'll bring the grandkids. You get second chance here. I'm gonna have the tank out at the park again this year on the 4th. You can come out and help everybody drown me like they did last year. But it was a good time. So, and I think the money we spend on the fireworks is money well spent. I've said it before, I've been going to that for 20+ years, and I've never seen a fight, an altercation. I don't remember seeing police hauling people out of there. It's one of the few times everybody seems to really get along. And the other thing tonight is, we've all had the stir from the state audit. What I ask from this point on is people have patience and give this board some time. We have a lot of things to address, and it's not like everything is a simple write a policy down on a piece of paper. There are some more complex items, a lot of which will probably be addressed when we start looking at the budget. So again, patience and allow us the time to address these issues. I know that everybody is concerned, wants to know what's going to happen. We will make sure we keep you informed what we're doing along the way and what we come up with, but we're going to get through all of it, and we're going to find a way to get everything set straight and get the city moving forward. So that's all I have this evening. We have no executive session. So.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
And I have a motion from Alderman Dickerson and a second from Alderman Miller.